Good evening, good evening, good evening, and definitely welcome back wherever it is that you are. I know all of us here are in Colombia, but wherever it is that you are, thank you once again for returning back to the place where you're going to get the information that you need to hear. If you guys do not know where you are, not a problem. First things first, my name is RJ Mood. I'm originally from Philadelphia. I've been living abroad for the last 3 years full time, but that's never the case. My goal and my job here with this entire platform is to connect you to the resources that you need. Now, you guys already know that you need a house, you need a destination, you need some money to go there. But there are so many more other nuanced conversations and things that go on when we talk about relocating and doing it successfully that this platform brings to light. And with that, we bring on not only tonight's conversation, but this entire platform. So you guys go to Mood Travel Abroad on YouTube. I need you one to subscribe there. Two, there are over 400 videos that are designed with relocation in mind and giving you something that you can actually use. So take your time, take a look at those things. They are available to you. You guys can also go to moodtravelabroad.com. Our relocation resources are there. They cover both, excuse me, not both, but Colombia, Mexico, Panama, as well as South Africa, and multiple cities on the ground. But tonight's conversation is not destination based, but we are going to hear from some people that are in Colombia. It is around how to actually relocate abroad ethically. A lot of you don't realize that just because you might look like us doesn't mean that you can't be the next gentrifier in the room, in the conversation. So tonight's conversation brings something in that we are definitely happy to do, which is one, hear from some Americans that have actually moved abroad, built lives, built communities, being a part of communities, and welcomed into those. But we're also going to hear from some local Colombians that are going to give you an understanding of what your presence does when you don't move with intent, how to not be the next person that's anonymously posting in travel groups that they didn't have a good time. So if you guys are the person that is looking to move abroad, stay right here. If you aren't or know somebody else that is looking to move abroad and you think they may need to hear this conversation, what I need you to do is share this live. This is going to be an important conversation where you're going to hear not only from somebody that left where you are, but somebody that may be in the place where you are and represents a lot of the people that are representing the community of Colombia, Mexico, Panama, and South Africa. We are already here doing our own thing by ourselves. So thank you for everybody taking a little bit of time tonight out of their busy schedules to speak to us. I will start. I'm going to start to my left at the top, and then we're going to go to the right, and I'll just introduce from there. But first, I want to introduce Dejana Ochoa. She is from Cali, Colombia. Please correct me if I am wrong, but she is here in Colombia, and I know she's happy to be here. Can you give them a little bit of understanding of who you are and what brings you to this conversation tonight?
Thank you, RJ. Now, you and I, we've been familiar for a while now. So most of everything that you said is the truth. Hi,
Okay.
everybody. My name is Dahana Ochoa. I'm the owner. You're good. I'm the owner and CEO of Tours by D. I host Afro cultural tours and knowledge on these tours as well. I'm based in Cali, Colombia, but I was born in Buenaventura and I was raised in Houston, Texas. I've been back home for 22 years in March, so there's a wealth of knowledge and lots of things that I've seen. Some have been improvements, some haven't. There's a lot going on in life in Colombia, but just know, y'all, we're all over the world. We're here. We're here.
No, thank you. Thank you. And the next gentleman you might already know, but for the people who don't, Brother Akeem, can you let them know who you are and what brings you to this conversation?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your favorite travel host, Akeem with Live Be Do. Y'all know me. Um, I'm here in Cali, Colombia. I am the founder and travel host of Live Be Do. Um, and we just started a new venture, Live Like a Local. And right now we do not only do we do group trips, we host group trips in Colombia, Brazil, Cuba, Morocco, Portugal, Spain, and Puerto Rico. But now we also do relocation immersion experiences. Cali, Colombia is our first one. And next year, in 2027, we're looking to branch out into Salvador Bahia and Lisbon, Portugal. So this isn't about the relocation immersion experiences, so I'm not going to get into that. But I will say thanks, RJ, for sharing your platform with us. Happy to be here amongst all of my peers, but so glad to see Dahana in this chat with us in this conversation. Because I think it's important that this topic be approached from both perspectives, from the local perspective, from the expat or immigrant perspective, and also, you know, the traveler, the traveler. We don't have any traveler perspective tonight, but you know, we need to lay down a foundation, especially with the way things are going on in these cities around the world, not just here in Colombia. But there are things that we can do. There are steps that we can take to put an emphasis on ethical travel, ethical relocation, and ethical tourism. So thanks a lot for touching on this subject.
Oh yeah, most definitely. We see all the same internet, so we know it's time to have this conversation for sure. Miss Michelee, can you tell them who you are and what brings you to this conversation?
Absolutely. Hey y'all, I'm Michelee from LA. So a Los Angeles girl, been living here in Medellín for 4 years. Actually, 4 years officially on Valentine's Day. So this coming Saturday is my 4-year anniversary in Medellín specifically. And 13 years abroad in total. And so yeah, I've been, around this world, different continents, different countries, and this topic is especially, important to me. We RJ even doing our expat chat, inviting some of our friends, our local friends, to be a part of that conversation. And like, this is just what we do. We like to incorporate like different perspectives. It's just part of who I am and what I do. I like to do a lot of things involving the community. I'm a crafty girl, so I like to share my, crafty expertise. And, I host craft workshops and events and stuff out here as well. So that's kind of what I do, staying in my creativity lane, but also in the ethical, community lane as well. So, I'm happy to have this conversation with y'all. My family, I love all of y'all.
Nah, for sure, for sure. And we've definitely built a solid community of people that are down here. And I would not say just living life, but it's just like really communing with each other. And I think Colombia gives a great representation of family and community. And it reminded me of something I used to see in the United States, and coming back here, it kind of re-sparked it all. But I want to start tonight's conversation regarding what Colombia was just, I would say, just a couple of years ago, from Dee's perspective. And the reason why is because you mentioned 4 years, Michelee. You mentioned I mentioned me being here going on 3 years. I started coming in 2017, but even those 7 years ago, Colombia wasn't always on American travelers' radar, and to see them coming in, and all of a sudden now everybody wants to come to Colombia. I want to start off with that, because I know that coming in had to be like, wait, so what did y'all find out or know or hear that made you all of a sudden everybody wanted to come? Can you hear me, D?
Yeah, I heard you loud and clear. So just to repeat, I moved back here March 2004. You know, we were still under the presidency of Uribe in that time. I didn't meet Akeem till 2018. That's how long I've been knowing Akeem. I want to say I'm Colombian. We've always known about plastic surgery. So the girlies have been coming over here way before the guys,
Yeah.
right? Before I fully got into after I started teaching, I would go outside a little bit more. I was more around a community of Colombians that had lived in the States. So naturally, teaching English was like the easiest thing we could do without breaking our backs with a regular Colombian job that in 2004 to 10, the minimum wage was horrible and the exchange of the dollar was horrible. Okay, guys, just imagine the dollar at that time in 2009, 2008, the dollar was only like 1,500 pesos.
Oh, wow.
That's another big reason why no one was moving out here. The dollar was it was almost the same as spending dollars. You know what I mean? I know people now they say I feel like I'm spending dollars now. Actually, for us Colombians in that era, we were spending like dollars. It was so
Mhm.
easy and cheap to buy dollars if you were going to leave and use the dollars somewhere else, you know. But to receive money from like a bank transfer, an international bank transfer, it just wasn't worth it. So going back to when it started like exploding more, I want to say around like 2010, I started seeing more, a little bit more of a fluctuation of different foreigners coming here. Now, Cali people have been coming here for years for salsa lessons
Yeah.
because we are the
Mhm.
worldwide capital of salsa. That's always been established. There's no argument. Puerto Rico, we love y'all, but salsa legends come and move here. You know what
There's
I
no
mean? They live
comparison.
here.
There's
There's
really no
none.
comparison.
They don't even listen to the salsa we listen to from
Yeah,
From Puerto Rico. They get here and they're shocked. Like,
yeah.
wow, y'all listen to him? We don't even listen to this at home, you know?
Wow.
So people I want because I found some friends that were artists and rappers and dancers, and that turned me on to a whole different world in Cali.
Okay.
And then I started meeting like way more people. And then in the era of OF, because early OF was just webcamming, right?
Oh, F.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's just the same thing as OF, except it wasn't a subscription, right? And in this era, there were little pop-up shops of this. And
Mm.
your girl ended up being a translator for some of these models, right? Yeah, you're right. So then you're translating for these girls, but they really don't know that you're actually talking to these guys in a sense, and you're like promoting Colombia in a sense.
Mhm.
Now, D never laid down with any of these guys. These guys were just my friends. Strictly that's what it was. They knew that because they were on a mission to meet the model that they wanted to meet at the time, right? And aside from that, just going out with my other friends that spoke English, the English teachers, we would run into other people that randomly spoke English.
Mhm.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden you're exchanging information. Then I end up with clients that want to go to the doctor, that wanted some type of plastic surgery procedure done as well. They would put me on to their wives or their wives' friends and things like that. And then social media came out, right? People started hopping on YouTube, on Instagram. My first interview ever was with Ace in 2018 before he actually like just blew up. Ace Travel. So right after that, I think I met Akeem at Petronio. And then from there, me and Akeem have been brother and sister
Yeah.
ever since. And we've been trying to push this tourism in Cali than any
Yeah.
other city because we know Cali is a hidden gem.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a hidden gem. Now we're not rushing everybody to move out here now, but
Nah.
eh, we don't want another Medellin. I love Medellin, don't get me wrong, but it's a little overwhelmed right now. It's
Yes.
a double-edged sword, because you find your community, which I understand. I've been in both worlds. I grew up Black American, but I also grew up Black Colombian. There were a
Right,
ton of Black, and still there's a bunch of Black Colombians in Houston, Texas, right now to this day, and more
right.
being born, right? And now they're integrating with Black Americans. So now you got your Black Colombian officially and officially Black American child. You know what I mean? That's what's happening. These cultures are coming together because a lot of people back at school, they had no idea I was a Black Colombian. They didn't know that could exist. Normally, I
Mhm.
was the only Black Latina in the class or just in the school, because there were tons of Latinos, but Black Latinos like me, very rare, very
Hmm.
rare. You know what I mean? But definitely after, I want to say 2015, 2014, I saw more of a rise of people coming to Colombia. I went to the first time to Cartagena in 2016, and I was like, wow, Cartagena's like this. It was just the same as it is now. Just the same. Tons of people from all over the world. Cartagena, I would say, was the number one spot before Medellin took over.
Right, yeah, it was for
I feel
sure.
like Medellin has taken over the global hotspot of people wanting to move to Latin America, getting a taste of Latin America. Starting with Colombia is great. Just make sure that you link with local people and that you're not coming here with this mindset that, like, well, everybody doesn't speak English here, or ain't no IHOP out here.
It's, but it's supposed to be
No
the
Wendy's.
international house of
Where's
pancakes.
pie? Right, right. No Denny's, no whatever.
No.
You can go to Panama for that if that's what you're kind of seeking, because they have Popeyes, they got Wendy's, they got Quiznos. I was like, y'all got
Olive
Quiznos in
Garden.
here?
They got Olive Garden in Panama.
They got get out of here.
It's in the
I
airport.
just spent.
Two of
Now, why didn't I get Olive Garden for lunch? I ended up getting, what was that? I don't know. It was some little chicken chain. I can't remember what else is in there. Craig's, or no, not Craig's. I don't remember. But something in there. And I was like, oh, this is what everybody be talking about. This is actually pretty good. It was decent, whatever it was. But just come with an open mind. If Bad Bunny didn't show y'all need to learn some Spanish and learn some more culture, I don't know what to tell you.
Nah, that's real. That's real. And you mentioned something because a lot of people think like, oh, having these conversations means everybody that's watches this immediately come and go to insert anywhere, Colombia, Mexico, Panama. These conversations aren't to tell you or convince you to move. That's not it. These conversations are 100% designed to take the person that is coming, regardless of if you talk to me or not. Hopefully the algorithm brings you something that you can use, because there are people that are coming here and thinking because, oh, I look a certain way or I come from a marginalized community in the United States, that I can't turn around and be the person that is marginalizing another community in the United States. So y'all talk to me, Akeem. You mentioned to live like a local experience, and I think that bridges the gap between American expectation and how to ethically relocate if it's actually on the menu. How do you navigate and help people navigate what this really looks like, ethical relocation?
Well, from the beginning, from our first call, we talk about ethical relocation. We talk about coming into communities and making sure that we're not competing with our neighbors. Um, The example that I like to use a lot is the housekeeper. I stay on the housekeeper because we all know that the housekeeper is very inexpensive in Colombia. Everybody has one. You know, everybody has a housekeeper. Now, here's the thing: when you live in a local community, when your neighbors are local, it doesn't matter if they're rich, middle class, poor. Doesn't matter. In a neighborhood in Colombia or in Cali specifically, you start making it rain on your house, and she just raises the prices. Yeah, it might be comfortable for you, but your neighbors are going to be side-eyeing you. And if you live in a neighborhood like I do, where we have a vigilante, the vigilante knows all the gossip, and the vigilante will talk about you in third person to your face and say, "Hey, there's some American out here who's just tossing money around, and you know he's messing it up for the neighborhood. I don't know who it is."
Can you say what a vigilante is? Because people in America are going to hear like they're going to think Batman and not what a local vigilante is in Colombia.
So in Colombia, the vigilante is the neighborhood watch, and it's usually in our neighborhoods. It's usually an older guy.
El
It's
vigilante.
a group of older guys.
With a pistol.
It's a group of older guys, real cool, real laid back. But do not let the smooth face fool you. The vigilantes out here will lay you out and then turn around and hold the door open for the lady going in with the groceries.
Neighborhood
Lay
watch,
you out and step over your body and help the lady with the groceries. So the point I'm trying to make is the vigilantes are your link to whatever is happening, the temperature of the neighborhood. Because I've gotten some indirect messages from the vigilante before. I don't want to say what it was for, but you know, some neighbors were talking about things, and the vigilante was talking about what the neighbors. He was, you know, repeating what the neighbors were saying, and you know, I looked at dating at the time, and I was like, "Oh, that's us. That's definitely us. That's definitely us. We got to turn that down a little bit." But no, so back to my point. My point is you want to have low impact. So the relocation immersion experience is about teaching people how to integrate into the community with the least amount of negative impact. Being mindful of our neighbors, being mindful of the local economy, and transforming, not looking at somebody and saying, "Oh, well, they only make this much. Surely I can give them an extra 100, or I can give them an extra." The problem is when you keep doing that, especially if you're not in the community, if you plan on leaving, and this happens with tourism too, you keep throwing out the big tips. Now, what you've done is you've created a culture of people who only view you as a resource. They don't view you as a neighbor. And this is the number one reason why I didn't bring people to Cartagena. I didn't bring people to Medellín. I brought them to Cali. Because Cali is a place where we're still able to blend in. We're not targeted as gringos. We're not targeted for tourism. They're not looking at us like, "Hey, you. Hey," you know how when you're walking through Cartagena, America, hey, Barack Obama, hey, they're not doing that here.
Michelle Obama.
Yeah. You know, what it, you know, and they mean it, you know, they don't mean any harm by it, but at the same time, it signifies that they recognize you as a tourist. So here in Cali, we don't have that. The population, a large percentage of the population looks like me, looks just like me. And if you go into our content on social media, all of the Colombian, Afro-Colombian content that we post, you can't tell us apart. So I don't want to go, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I do want to say that it is very important. It's a vital part of what we talk about. Even in our tourism, when we're telling people, do not take photos of local people without their permission. Things like that. Things, whatever you would not do in your neighborhood or your city or your town, don't do it over here. Don't do it over here. If you wouldn't pull up into somebody's neighborhood and start filming their family, their children, start picking up their babies and kissing them, taking selfies with their babies, don't do it here. Don't do it here. And it's really, I want to leave something else for Michelle. I know Michelee has to talk, so I'm gonna cut it off here. There's a lot we can talk about when it comes to ethical tourism.
Nah, we're going to get into it. And I know Misha has a really good perspective because she's got not only Colombia, but because she's traveled and lived in so many different countries, when I think about ethical tourism and being in different cultures and you haven't lived in the Middle East, it's like preparing somebody to really wrap their heads around that, I think, is something that you can kind of hit on for sure, Michelee, which just dropped. All good. Nah, that's but that's real. She, like as I mentioned, Michelee has lived in, the Middle East, which, considering when we talk about going from the United States to Latam, is definitely a culture shock, but nothing, I want to say not as big as in going from the Middle East. And when we think about how to be a part of a new neighborhood, or I tell people all the time, when they say, hey, I want to relocate, you're asking the immigration people, when you go there with your passport and you're waiting in line, you're asking them, hey, can you let me in? Can you let me in? You guys already have things going on, but can you let me in? And a lot of people aren't realizing that because I believe American exceptionalism, the way American positions everything. And you mentioned even somebody like unintentionally affecting local communities. And I think the domestic worker scenario is definitely one where you have somebody that may work in your house, or even go to the restaurant. I think like a standard tip, if you give a tip in Colombia, maybe like 10%, whereas in United States, you may be seeing 20, 30, 40%. Never mind other stuff I see when I go home. I think they do the 20% gratuity, but that doesn't go to the waiter. It goes to the staff. So if you want to tip your waiter directly, you need to add on another 20%. And you guys are fed up with that in the United States. But then you come to Colombia or Mexico or Panama and are like, oh, my money goes just a little bit further. So let me start spreading it around. And one of the things I saw, and we all us, so I feel like this conversation, I can have this with you guys. But I saw the other day, and it was about how us are in positions to travel the world for the first time and are bringing some of that colonizer energy we're looking to get away from in the United States. And welcome back, Michelee. We'll let's talk about that though. What you've been seeing on the ground with, folks like us that may be bringing the colonizer energy that we know for certain what it looks like in the U.S., but don't realize that it might be you.
Mm-hmm. You asking me specifically?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I got you.
Okay. I didn't know if you were talking to me. So, but yeah, bringing that colonizer energy, we see that does happen, right? I think a lot of people, specifically, like assuming majority of our audience are going to be Black American as well, right? Coming from where we come from, or throughout the diaspora, mostly Black Americans. I think that because of our position in the history of the United States, mostly being the ones with a foot on our neck, we think it's impossible that when we go somewhere else that we can be in that position, right? Like to take advantage, in a sense, of people, the systems, like things just kind of don't apply to us. And I think that for a lot of people, it seems confusing. Like, well, how can that be how can I be oppressing somebody else? You know what I mean? I have a history. We have a history of being oppressed. So how can I go and be an oppressor? It's easy, like, for example, we talked about already, like the dollar, our currency being stronger. A lot of us are working remotely or earning USD or something, bringing it in, right? Getting a paycheck. A lot of vets, so they're getting pensions. We getting, again, checks from remote work and all this stuff. So the way that we're able to live in this country, it is easier. You know what I mean? And I think that because people feel that they're not rich, they're not balling out of control. It's just that it takes them further here than it would back home. They think that, like, well, what do you mean? Like, how I'm not like a obnoxious rich person that just, I'm just having my way. But it's like we do affect the economy. You do affect, like, when you're just accepting all types of rent prices without questioning. You don't understand the culture when it comes to, like, bargaining. My experience from living around the world, not only in this country, not only in South America, it's a bartering, that type of negotiating culture. So, like, if you might be offered something, it's a part of the culture to kind of go back and forth. And you know what I mean? Like, nobody is ripping you off because that's happening. You know what I mean? You're going to start a little higher, but it's okay to negotiate sometimes, you know what I mean? To get to that sweet spot, And so when people don't understand culture, when they're relocating somewhere, when they're traveling somewhere, it can be offensive, and at the same time, in the same breath, don't assume that people, here, just because your money can take you further, you think that a lot of services and products are cheap, compared to back home or compared to other places. That don't mean that that people are just accepting pennies. You know what I mean? I saw a conversation recently we had in a chat group where people were like, like, let's start sharing the information we're paying for services and things like that, right? Which I think is a good idea for people who don't know, who don't have an idea and don't understand and don't really have experience bargaining and stuff like that, or bartering, negotiating. At the same time, I'm seeing people devaluing the work, the services and things of other people. Me, as a creative, I work side by side with a lot of local creatives here and other places, right? As an artist, or as a person that's providing a good service, especially if I'm putting a lot of effort and consideration, detail in my work and my services that I'm providing, you don't get to tell me just because you think it should be, dirt cheap, that, you know what I mean? And it's the same thing. I wouldn't accept that, and don't come doing that to other people. You know what I mean? Like, is their price is their price. Now you can, if you say, like, this is out of my price range, but don't, like, think that somebody's automatically ripping you off just because it's not dirt cheap the way that you expected it. Like, oh, well, I thought English lessons should be $5 because you in Colombia. What do you mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, people, how we explained earlier, like, inflation, things happen. We affect the economy when, local people have to rent apartments. Also, a lot of us are trying to stay in local and residential areas and stuff, right? Again, it's not like the expat zone to where it's only expats in one area. You know what I mean? So, when things go up for us, it's going up for them as well. I have a lot of local friends, students, and we have these conversations. I ask them, about their experience aside, side by side, what's happening, what I'm observing, what I'm experiencing. I talk to them about it as well. And, like, people are affected, and it's just, we just have to be really conscious about that kind of stuff. Don't make the assumption, again, that, don't make the assumption, and don't make the mistake of devaluing people's work and services, the cost of things. Understand the culture. Like, try to be familiar with that, and get a local friend, somebody that can put you on game that you can consult with. but don't take advantage.
Yeah. Get you a local friend. You know, and let me ask you, D, let me talk to me because a lot of people, like the gray area is where a lot of people get caught up with. They're like, well, I didn't know what to do, so I just did what felt right. And it's like, no, let's bring it to the carpet. What, from your perspective, what can somebody, a Black American, an American coming to Colombia, even somebody looking to come into another community, how can they be a positive impact to the community that they're saying they want to be a part of? Like, I'd rather just know flat out for somebody that's watching versus dancing around the question.
It's like what Michelee said, and we've all been saying, get local, immerse yourself into the culture. I want to add on to what Michelee said about, oh, well, I thought it was cheap because we're in Colombia. It's not because of that. Yeah, your dollars can't stretch, but if I'm collaborating with a local, I have to make sure I take care of that local as well because their time sitting there to educate us from their knowledge and the materials that have to be bought. Time and materials alone is something that is a value that you have to place on it, besides just paying my own self. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And I'm a local, but even as a person that wants to help out in the community, that's why I appreciate like a lot of what Michelee does, a lot of what we all do on here. I'm here amongst my peers. We're here to educate, to give knowledge, reach out. If you're seeing us now, if your algorithm is hitting you with this, you can book a consultation with RJ or Akeem or myself. Michelee, I don't know if you started, but get in the consultation game as well.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, do your research. Even if you just chat GPT, even if you just chat GPT, what can I do while I'm in Colombia? What can I do to actually help the locals in Colombia? Look up charities that you can donate to or even bring materials to. You know what I mean? Connect with the people and not just your community. Connect with the actual people of the community. You know what I mean? Like,
And
do
try to
your research
learn. Try to
and
learn
try to learn.
something. Try to
Yeah.
learn the language a little bit. Like it's no reason you should be here for over a year if you don't know how to ask for water at a restaurant.
No, not
And
just a
be
little bit, a
stuck.
lot. Learn Spanish, please.
Like
Wherever
Y'all
you
make an
always
go.
effort.
forget
It
that
don't
there's
have to be
people.
like, yeah.
Bad Bunny taught us a lesson on Sunday. You might not have to know the language to learn the music, but that's a way to learn the language. And I'm this isn't an ad, but there's a new app out called Lyric Fluent. You can
Okay.
learn their Lyric Fluent app. They have different genres. They got Bad Bunny on there. They got Hector Lavoe on there, Willie Colon. You know what I mean? If you're into salsa or if you're not into the music, then there's a simple thing called changing the subtitles on what you're watching and put them on in
Right,
Spanish.
right,
You
right,
can
right.
listen to it in English, but
There's
you
so
can
many
start reading
ways.
it in Spanish.
Yeah, there's so many
Now it
ways.
might not be Colombian Spanish, and then remember, it depends on what region you're in. We all have different accents and different slang, just like the US. A black
Yeah,
person from LA doesn't have the same slang as a black person in Houston or in New York or in Florida.
right.
Okay?
Exactly.
Tell
There's
them.
going to be different regions and different traditions and
Right,
customs, different
right.
types of food.
Yeah.
Now, y'all can argue with everybody, but Cali has the best food.
Cali has the best food, and I will cut this live off if anybody tries to dispute it.
Look,
Oh my
that's
God.
it.
You
Even
always
even y'all know we got the best food, and it's not because
Now they don't
we
know because
have.
they don't even come over here, man. They don't be coming over here. They ain't never been
RJ,
over
you
here.
haven't been here yet.
Nah, I haven't been yet.
Dios mío. If
Yeah.
y'all don't come to Petronio this year, I don't know what's going on with y'all.
My
Yeah,
Y'all
that's
got at
why we
least
gotta do
come.
Don't worry,
something
because
big
we
for
coming
Petronia.
taking
Down
RJ.
Petronia.
I know Michelee. Me and her were talking already about coming out here, of her coming out here maybe in the next 2 months or something like that. So we'll work that out. But
Yeah.
RJ, you and your girl need to be out here like as
I'm on
soon as
my way.
possible.
I'm
Okay,
on my way.
please.
Nah, that's real. That's real. And one of the things I tell people about, even with this whole relocation thing and everything else, and you mentioned the different accents as you go to different places, and it's like Medellin is not Cartagena, it's not Cali, it's not Santa Marta. Like all of these places are different, and the
No.
intention of how you go about the ethical relocation could waver a little bit depending on what you have to adapt to. And it's like everything comes, and I always tell people this is not the place where I'm going to tell you that relocation is easy. It's not, because you have to be open to learn the language. You have to be open to really wrap your head around, do I want to be a different person? And you, indeed, you've got a unique scenario because you spent so much time in the United States. When you went to the U.S., did you speak English already before you got there, or were you learning everything on the ground?
No, I was 8 months old when my crazy parents decided, hey, let's pack up and go to the States, right? And
Okay.
my mom worked at the alcaldía. She worked at the mayor's office in Buenos. She didn't have to go. Her father was retired from being a commercial um marine. Well, he wasn't a marine, but he was on the boats. Let's just say that he traveled around the world, right? But my first memory of I just like knew English, y'all. I really don't know how it happened, but I just knew it. And I still talk in English to my dad to this day. We both speak in English. Now, of course, he has an accent, but whenever we don't want the neighbors to know who we talk about, we'll talk in English to each other. Right. And I always practice Spanish at home because my mom to this day, she doesn't speak as fluent as my father, but he was like, You're going to learn your language, you're going to learn your culture." So growing up in Houston, I had that double side of blackness. We
I got
had our Buenaventura parties and food, but I also had my Black American friends that I would be with at school or spend the night at their house if my mom allowed me to or whatnot. And then at the tender age of 8 years old, my mom said, "You're going home for the summer."
you.
Right? And she was like, "And you're not going to Cali, you're going to Buenaventura,
Mm.
to the port, right? To go meet my mama and them, right? Like my grandma, may she rest in peace, her sister and my older cousin and my grandfather." And one of the things that I remember the most, because I've always been a music head, was grabbing my dad's, because my cousin had stolen my dad's Bob Marley records.
Okay.
So at 8 years old, I was tuned into Bob like immediately. I absolutely love Bob Marley. He's an inspiration, y'all. Please listen to him more. That's what we need now. He is what Bad Bunny in a sense is now. He's asking people to unite, no matter the race, no matter the creed. What is going on out there is unjustified. You know what I mean? We're not doing that out here. We're stopping you at the airport and turning you around, but
Right.
we're not busting up in your house. Oh, he been in Colombia 175 days, but they're not busting up in the house to get him out. You
True.
truly only get caught when you go back to the airport,
Yep.
and then you may or may not be allowed to come back in 3 to 10 years. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
But now I saw a case this morning that somebody had some weird charges with children, and they were like, turn around in El Dorado in
Wait,
Bogota.
U.S. citizen or in Colombia?
They just said foreigner, so
Okay,
I'm not really
There's been a bunch
sure.
of them that was
because
United States citizens.
one of the parties in the U.S. is really catching hell right now with all these
Right,
pedophile charges. So
right,
yeah,
right,
I'm not gonna
right,
get
and
political. I'm not gonna get political here, but yeah,
right. We're not gonna do
it's
that,
raining
but
pedophiles in the U.S. right now.
let's just say that Colombia does work closely with Interpol
They will
and
catch
the
you.
FBI.
Yeah,
Be
Okay,
self-defense.
Well, also
so
a part of that though, because we've spoken on, like the sex tourism and stuff, that is very popular. So but besides that, right? Like, 'cause there are people who do it you know, like they consensually or whatever, I guess, to whatever extent. But also people take advantage, like part of that taking advantage I was talking about, you understand that people are in poverty. So people are put into like compromising positions, you know what I mean? Like even abusing children. You got people who say, you know, like people come here, places like Thailand, you know what I mean? Like your dollar is going longer in these places. You have all types of cases where people are going to places where it's more extreme poverty. Again, your dollar is going stronger, and so you go and take advantage of people in such a negative way, like
Mm-hmm.
abusing sexually. A lot of these predators come abroad for that reason, because the you're assumed to be good or whatever, you know, your money makes you good or whatever, and you don't have to be rich. I'm just saying, like, it may not be your money per se, but like your status, you know what I mean? Like you as a foreigner, we are regarded like as, you know, as something different, sometimes better in other places, right? Like maybe they'll take our word above somebody else's, you know? And so people take advantage of stuff like that so often, and it's disgusting. They busted a lot. That's why a lot of things have changed here too recently in the last few years, is because you get these people who come here and take advantage of local people, children, you know, just with disgusting behavior. The same stuff we see happening back, you know, in the States right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know, they don't realize that that kind of behavior is not going to be accepted anywhere. And, you know, I appreciate Colombia for stopping a lot of these people at the door for certain, because Colombia is not what it is that you, the person that knows any little bit about Colombia, is probably seen. It is one of the most beautiful places in the world. They do not show Colombia the way that they should. You know how
Yeah.
Mexico
Yeah.
should be a tent, and it's like, why is everything this color? Like it's
They
that's
don't
how
show the half.
they don't.
Right.
When I tell people about how it's just like you got snow-capped mountains and some of the most beautiful beaches,
Snow-capped volcanoes on top of that.
Yeah. You got
and they're like,
deserts,
"What?"
canyons.
You got
And it's
desert and beach. Look like Namibia
the
in La
opportunity
Guajira.
Yeah.
to grasp this is something where I think it's very short-sighted when people think are looking at Colombia. D, let me ask you, from a local's perspective, what do you think more you wish more people understood before moving or traveling to Colombia?
Number one, you got to have some patience because Colombia, CP time, y'all.
It's Colombian
CP
people
time.
time.
Yes.
Oh yeah. It's a
Okay.
line for the line. So you got to stand in line
Yes.
and figure out what line you need to be in.
Personal space. Number two, you might be in the line, the person might be right behind you,
In your pocket?
breathing on you. Okay.
Not, not the
This
butt.
even happened during the pandemic and they were
Not,
still behind you.
not the butt. That's what we call it in the military. Not the butt.
Oh, no. That- that's horrible. But yes, that's another one. Number three, we're very touchy feely. We'll hug you. We'll kiss you on the side of the cheek. Don't get mad. We're just very, really happy people. But we can also be number four, be kind of flaky. Might be like, yeah, we're gonna go and do this, but then you just be like, you know what, I'm about to stay home today. Y'all can go and
Yeah.
go and do that. Y'all, I'll send you the address. But above all, we're very, very friendly people, even if you didn't get a chance to
Muy
practice the
amable.
language.
Muy amable.
Right. Even if you didn't get a chance to practice the language, we're still gonna we'll do sign language and try to help you with
Yeah.
what you're
Right.
trying to do. A true friendly Colombian will do that. I can't speak for the ones that scam and do the other things. You know what I mean? And to add on to what Michelee was saying about the sexual tourism, you really got to be careful if you on that. You know,
Yeah.
people have been unalive accidentally because it's not on purpose.
Right.
They've been unalive. Some of them have been on purpose, but most of the time they don't know the amount of
They're
whatever
not
they're giving you.
pharmacists.
They're
Right, they're
giving
not
you.
doctors, so they
They
don't know
don't
how to give a dose. They
they
don't know
don't
the
know your
dosage of the
tolerance.
doses.
They don't
Yeah,
know how much you weigh. Right. They don't know how much you
right.
weigh. They
If you
don't know
got a
your
heart
height.
condition.
Correct.
Hmm.
Correct. Or you are diabetic. They don't know that. They don't know
Right.
that.
Yep, they don't know
So
how it's going to react with
stay
you.
off the apps, guys. Stay off the apps. Meet them at the grocery store.
Yeah,
Talk to the cashier girl, someone that actually has a job or something.
How about this? If you don't speak Spanish, don't try to date. Until you got a couple of words. You should be able as a
yeah,
grown I always tell people you should be able as a grown person to say things that a 3-year-old should. I have to go to the bathroom. Hello. Goodbye.
yeah,
How are you? If you
Voila.
can't say those things, the likelihood of you dating somebody that is not looking to take advantage of you is probably unlikely. They're probably not going to want you if you can't say hello or good morning. It just doesn't work. If you got to rely on the translator, focus on the translation of normal things before you try to start dating. And it's probably the
right,
same way in any country in the world. You go to America in the United
Correct.
States and you don't speak English and you want to date someone that is only an English speaker, them going, hello, it's gonna be like, okay, but how long can I do that? So please keep in mind when it comes Colombia travel relocation. I was on a call. It was a couple of years ago. We did a women's. It was a women's month podcast, and one of the girls they asked about dating abroad, and one of the girls flat out said it, and I'm like, yo, she got the right mindset. She said, I've been spending so much time in America putting other people first, putting jobs and everything else under the sun. And I tell y'all, a lot of y'all don't even know who you are as an adult, who you are outside of America, who you are outside of America in another country when having to learn so much. You don't even know that. So to think that you're going to come, then the first thing you're going to do is jump head deep into Hinge, what Tinder, Bumble, whatever the new ones are. You know, y'all know. I don't know, but it's setting yourself up for success and also setting yourself up to be the colonizer and exploiter when you're looking for what can I go grab out of this place or what can I take for myself. So, the nice conversation has to be rooted in the intent of moving abroad and understanding that relocation is really what makes it or break it is 1,000,000% the intent that you go in. And with everybody on here, all of us have been on both sides of the TSA, inside of the United States, outside of the United States. Let me ask you guys, from a good global citizen perspective, what advice can any of you guys give to somebody that hasn't made the move yet and really still thinking that, this conversation was helpful, 2026 is their year, but something that you might not have known that you wish somebody would have pulled your coattail to that maybe this conversation didn't all the way touch on? Akeem, go for it. I feel like you always got something for me.
So what was the question? I'm gonna say my piece, then I gotta log off because I got
That's
some.
your good. We're getting out of here. This is the last question for tonight. I want you to give somebody some advice that's looking to move abroad within consideration of this conversation that you wish somebody would have made sure that you heard before you left.
Well, as I say, if you're looking to move abroad, like I say, find your place that's not so far and spend some time there. Or even if you have a city in mind, a country in mind, don't sell all your belongings and just move there. Go there, spend some time, spend time in different cities and figure out which one gels with you, which one is a good fit for you. That's what I would say if you're looking to relocate.
Cool.
And I will see you guys on the flip side.
Love you,
Peace.
All
bro.
right.
Yeah, thanks a lot,
See you
RJ.
this
Thanks for the
weekend.
platform. Michelee,
See you
ciao.
sometime this
You,
week.
peace.
All right.
Yeah, we'll hear from the ladies and we'll get you guys back to your Tuesday schedules. What you got for me, Michelee?
I would definitely say one of my favorite things is to leave all of, well, not, it don't have to be all of them, but leave most of your expectations, and definitely poor habits and old attitudes behind. Like, do not, especially, we talked about adjusting to new cultures. You're not at home, so don't expect things to go exactly how they are at home. You will for sure disappoint yourself. Be
Mm-hmm.
disappointed expecting things to run. Listen, our sis D just told us about being on, we know CP time, right? But we understand how systems, listen, living in Ethiopia, for example, I learned that early. That was the very first place that I moved to out of the States. And going in that immigration office, listen, down here, this immigration office ain't got nothing on it, okay? Nothing. You learn patience, right? Like, so if I went into there with the attitude, like, what do you mean I gotta come back tomorrow? What do you mean I gotta come back next week? I would be stressed out. Like, I would be, all these people we see running back home super quick because things don't work out the way that they're used to working it out at home. Leave those expectations, leave those messy ways and those attitudes and stuff. The closeness D talked about, also somebody being in line behind you in the store, putting their stuff down on the belt, on the conveyor belt when you in line. Understand culture, right? Let those things go that and learn to adjust, because they're not coming to fight you. If somebody steps on your shoes in another culture, it don't mean the same thing as somebody stepping on your shoes in a club in your hometown. Okay. So just
Right.
understand, like, to adjust, to fully adjust, to really adjust, you have to let go of some of those expectations, some of those things that you know and expect back home when you are wanting to adjust and integrate in another system, in another culture.
That's real.
That
That's
was
real.
real. Thank you,
Mhm.
sis. So,
This is
so
13
my
years experience living abroad.
look,
Okay.
right. So my take is gonna be on
Mm-hmm.
security issues. Okay, the whole world is dangerous. Don't let what other people tell you who don't even have a passport tell you not to go to some place.
Mm-hmm.
Do your research. Sure, it might be a notice. Homeland Security says there's a level 2 warning, da 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 da. Okay, why don't you just go and find out for yourself instead
Yeah.
of, don't believe the hype of what's being said about this place, because you never know how it will resonate with you. Yes, there's going to be security issues all over the world. It's happening right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where you, as yourself, need to keep your head on a swivel. If you know you're going to come out here, whether you're a traveler or want to actually move here, and the second weekend you here, you just decide to drink 5 bottles of Patron, what do you think is going to happen to you?
That's real.
What do you think is going to happen to you? And then you're going to blame it on something totally different instead of taking accountability that you
Right.
were too turned up. Watch
Yep.
yourself, okay?
Right.
Watch yourself, be aware so that you actually can immerse yourself and have a good time and see if these places resonate with you, whether it's Colombia, Puerto Rico, DR,
Yeah.
Southeast Asia, the Arab world, Africa, whatever. It's your job to keep your head on the swivel, but it's also
Exactly.
your job to do your research and find out, is this truly the place where I want to be or that I want to visit? If it's just a visit to, or a scouting visit, is this the place I want to go scout? Who can I reach out to get more information, or let me do my own research on this and see if this is where I actually want to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's good information, D. I appreciate that. I'll give you guys my two, and then we'll get out of here and let everybody go back to their normal lives, planning their relocation out of the United States. But my first one that nobody told me about, and I wish they would have told me about, is Americans. We slam the car door. We didn't know that, but we slammed the car door, and I didn't know I slammed the car door until I got to Colombia. But I wish I would have known that because I need to ethically relocate that out of my life. I did not know slamming the car door was such a big thing. I didn't know I was so strong. But that is one thing. If you ever come to Colombia, people are going to say "suave, suave." Like, please
You gonna
do not
break them
take it
people's heart slamming that door.
like but all jokes aside, the second thing I want to leave you guys here with tonight, especially when it comes to ethically relocating, is in order to be aware of somebody else, you need to be aware of yourself. So when I talk to you guys about when I talk to you guys about looking into the mirror and figuring out who you are, what you want at this big ass age that you finally decided that, hey, maybe America is not the place for me. What do you want? What are you willing to do to get what it is that you want? And I don't mean by taking things from people. I mean putting things into yourself, educating yourself, putting yourself in a position to learn a new language, to slow down your pace of life and really take on what a new world could bring to you. You guys have to realize the bubble of America, it's the bubble of America inside of America. Outside of that bubble, the rest of the world is working with each other, coming around each other. Everybody is working around in a community with each other. It is just America with the American exceptionalism, and the thought process is that we're the best. So everybody else has to acquiesce to what it is that we would like. And I'm just going to give you a heads up. Once you relocate, you'll finally realize that things are not going on outside of America as America has told you when you guys lived in there. So it is up to you, as D said, as Akeem said, as Michelee said, to do this journey and do it with intent. To know that just because you are running out of the burning house that it is America doesn't mean you get to go light someone else's house on fire. I need you guys to make certain that you are attentive to these conversations because it is not for us, the people that were on this platform. It is for you guys. We are already here. We are already living the life that you say that you want to take on. But with this intent and with this journey comes an actual responsibility. So our job is just to do what we can and just at least give you some education and some inspiration so that you guys can believe that it is real and see people that look like you so that you guys can come over here and have a great time if you do it the right way. So thank you, D, as always. I hope to see
It's
you
a pleasure. I
soon.
can't wait to come back. Love your Columbia shirt.
Oh,
I
you
have the same one.
already
That's an OG shirt right there.
we're gonna get
That's
Eddie on. I know
uh-huh.
Eddie was in the comments watching, but we'll get Eddie on the next time. I told him maybe we would do it
Definitely.
in person so you guys can see online, but then we'll have some people on in person here with us to be able to add
Oh,
in
for
on these
sure.
conversations because these things are what actually success looks like with moving abroad, with integrating with the people that were already here, not the immigrants or the expats. I'm talking about the local Colombians, the local Mexicans, the local Panamanians, the people that were already living in a place that you said is my dream destination. So go to moodtravelabroad.com. There you can find all of our free relocation resources as well as all of our paid ones because we have you connected with
$3.99, y'all.
immigration lawyers, we have you connected with realtors, we have you connected with healthcare experts. If you happen to be in Medellín next week, make sure you guys come to our seminar. We are going to be live with realtors, immigration lawyers, and visa experts, neighborhood experts, giving you everything that you need to really make this life abroad a reality. So appreciate you as always, D. My name is RJ, and I will see you guys next time. Tomorrow, oh, one last thing. Tomorrow, make sure you guys come back at 6. We will be discussing homeschooling and world schooling opportunities with Vernon and Sakile Speller. They help people that are parents that are looking to take their kids move out of the United States. We're going to niche down on how you, the parent that wants to move abroad with their child, can actually start homeschooling and world schooling your kids so you can unplug out of the United States. So I will see you tomorrow at 6. D, I will see you soon. I appreciate your time as always.
Yes. Be safe,
All right.
bro.